Alright, so the next 3 assignments I'm going to have you guys working on will be in Microsoft Excel. So I'm just going to go over some of the basics with the program, how to get to the program, what the program does, some of the vocabulary associated with Microsoft Excel, just so you have an idea of how to use the program before we get into the assignments. So what everyone's going to do after you get logged in, we're going to go to the Start menu, and you're just going to type in Excel, E-X-C-E-L. Then you should get Excel 2016, and I'm just going to click on that one time and let it load. So a few things I'm going to go over first here, some of the spreadsheet basics. Each Excel file is a workbook. So right now these are all workbooks. And then each workbook can hold many worksheets. So if I look down at the bottom right now, it says sheet 1. If I click on the plus, I could add another sheet, another sheet, another sheet. So I could have this whole bottom filled with different sheets if I wanted to. Each worksheet, otherwise called a spreadsheet, which is probably more common, is made up of rows, which are horizontal, designated by numbers. Alright, so all of these are rows, okay, 2, 3, going left to right. Columns, which would be vertical, up and down, so the letters A, column B, column C, and their intersections, which are called cells. So if I were to click on one of these, the intersection right here, this cell that's selected, is B2. You always say column and then the row. You don't say 2B. It'll be B2. And you can also see that right up here in the cell name box. The letters and numbers of the columns and rows, called labels, are displayed in gray buttons across the top and left side of the worksheet. So these are the labels. Those are your column labels, and it goes on forever. Once you get past Z, they start AA, AB, AC, and then going down the left-hand side, these labels for the rows are all numbered. Each cell on the spreadsheet has a cell address that is the column letter followed by the row number, like I told you before. So if I just click randomly, this one, if I don't even have to look here, I can just look up here, I11. Alright, this one, Q19, F16, D19. You get the point. There are 3 basic types of data that can be entered into a cell. So if I go in here, I can enter text with no numerical values such as days. I could enter numbers in here, just a number or a constant value such as the number 5 or the number 10. And formulas. Formulas are a mathematical equation used to calculate a result, such as equals 5 plus 3. So if I were to type that in there, I'm not going to do it, but if I were to type equals 5 plus 3 in there and hit enter, it would give me 8 in the cell. It would automatically calculate it for me. Now, some of the screen elements. The following are elements of the Microsoft Excel environment. The menu bar. So the menu bar is going to be all here at the top. It displays the names of the drop-down menus, contains the minimize over here, this little dash, minimize. Restore down or maximize would be here. Okay, if it was already minimized, the maximize would be a 1 square. And close. So this is the menu bar. Okay, you can click on all sorts of different things. I'm going to close out of here. But insert, page layout, formulas, these are all part of the menu bar. These are different tabs. I'm going to go back to home. Looks like I lost my worksheet there. There we go. So now we're back. Toolbars. Toolbars provide shortcuts to menu commands. Standard and formatting toolbars shown by default. So different toolbars, okay? You can change the font, the size, the color. You can do fill, you can fill the paint bucket. Notice here, fills in the cell, different color, okay, the background. Underline, italics, bold, copy, cut, okay, paste. So all these different things you can use. Cell number box displays the address of the active cell. So right now we're in the first cell, so it tells you right here, A1. Okay, like I did before, if you click on different cells, it'll tell you right here in the cell box. Formula bar. This displays the contents of the active cell. So that would be right here. Okay, if I type something in this cell, it would show up in here. Right now it's blank. Okay, so if I click here and I just randomly type something, okay, it shows up in the formula bar. And then I can just delete this random letters. The next part I want to go over quickly again is the worksheet tabs. At the bottom, typically they'd have 3 tabs open here on older programs, but right now it just says sheet 1. If I click on this plus, there we go, it wasn't selected, wasn't active. So we're at sheet 2, sheet 3, okay? If you do not want those sheets, I can right click and I can delete just the sheet I don't want. For all of these though, we're just going to be working with one sheet at a time, so you don't need to really worry about adding more. The scroll bars. These help navigate the different areas of the active worksheet, and they're located on the right and bottom of the worksheet. So over here, this allows you to scroll down. You can go down basically to infinity. I mean, it would go on and on and on and on forever. You don't need to do it. You're wasting time if you try. And then this you would go over. Like I said, if you get past Z, it starts going AA, AB, AC, AD, AE, all the way up to AZ, and then it starts over again. Alright, so I'm going to go back to A1. And then the worksheet tab scroll buttons. These scroll the display of the sheet tabs one at a time, or to display the first and last grouping of sheet tabs. Again, you really don't need to worry about that down here. Just know that that's where the sheet tabs are at the bottom here. Data selection. Use the mouse and or keyboard shortcuts to select or highlight cells, rows, and columns of data. Single clicking on the column label will highlight the whole column. So if I go up here and just click on E, you'll notice the whole column E is highlighted. And if I scroll down, it would be highlighted all the way down forever. Single clicking on the row label will highlight the whole row. So if I go over here to 7, let's say, it highlights the whole row. Clicking and dragging across several row or column labels will highlight several rows or columns respectively. So if I click here and I move across, it'll select those. I could do the same thing if I want to click and drag down across these rows here. Clicking and dragging across a group of cells will highlight the contiguous adjacent group. So if I want to click and just say I want to select like these cells right here, I could just select these. Non-contiguous, which means non-adjacent, so cells that aren't touching each other, you can highlight by holding down the control key and using the mouse to single click the desired cell. So for example, let's say I want to click here. If I hold the control key down, I can click and all these cells, whichever ones I wanted, are highlighted now. Okay, so I selected all these that are now kind of gray. Clicking on the gray box where the row labels and column labels intersect, the top left corner of the worksheet will highlight the whole worksheet. So if I click on this little arrow up here, kind of right here, it selects the entire thing. Okay, so we really don't need to know that or need to use that, but you should know how to do it if you ever have to down the road. Now a few shortcuts here before I wrap up. That's about actually all the time. So we're not going to do the shortcuts right now. Actually, it looks like we got a little bit more time. I thought my 10 minutes was up, but apparently I got more time here. So some of the shortcuts, Control plus the space bar at the same time, highlight the entire column. So if I do Control, space bar, highlights the column. If I do Shift, space bar, highlights the entire row. And if I do Control A, it selects the whole workbook like it would have done if I clicked on the corner up here where this arrow is. So right there is some of the basics of Microsoft Excel. And now we're going to get into exercise 1.